Hey, Kevin.
Oh, hey, David.
Episode 22.
22.
I'm excited.
Tutu.
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 Too many? No.
No. Too few.
Enough.
Ballerina tutu.
Speaking of tutu, I keep thinking about our tutus on the cruise.
Oh, yeah. We're not talking about that in public.
What?
What happened on the cruise stayed on the cruise.
Everyone wants pictures. I go, there's no pictures taken. I've seen no pictures of the tutus.
No, and I kept it that way on purpose.
Oh, my God. Anyways, I look cute in the tutu, I thought, but okay.
Yeah, well, let's just... Welcome to Terrifyingly Beautiful.
That's Terrifyingly Beautiful.
It sure was.
Tutu.
Yeah. I'm going to let you guess which side the needle went to on that one. That's David Robert.
And this is Kevin O'Connell.
We haven't introduced each other in a long time.
I know, we haven't.
Switching it up.
Well, last time you yelled at me.
Well, don't I usually yell at everyone?
Yes, but it was a real yell.
I'm on edge all of the time, David. The surroundings around me are always like I'm scared of everything. I'm worried about the worst and everything. So my only go-to is just like yelling.
To vent.
But to be fair, if I actually yelled at you, you'd know because you'd either be crying or dead.
I don't cry when people yell at me.
No?
I just yell back.
You haven't seen me yell.
I've been married for 23 years. There's a lot of yelling involved.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, so welcome to the podcast. Our podcast is about anxiety and stress and how to deal with it and fear and what?
Coping.
I thought you said in cocaine.
Oh, cocaine. No, Michael Caine.
Mike Cocaine. The podcast about Michael Caine.
Yes, exactly.
I wanted to switch it up this week.
Ooh, okay.
And before we do that, I'm going to talk about our social media. Yeah, so we have Twitter. That's the one with the bird.
Twitter, yes.
Yes.
Let's tweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember, David and I are both over the age of 30, so give us some fucking slack
40,
with the social media. We need more followers. Flowers.
Flowers.
We need birds around the flowers. The Tweety bird.
We need more followers.
We need more followers on Twitter. I know I don't tweet a whole lot on there, but I try to. So please recommend us to people on Twitter. We also have an Instagram, which is probably our most viewed social media account. Try to post fun pictures from the podcasts and just
they are fun pictures.
Yeah. Please comment on them and follow us on there.
The ones are kind of funny.
Yeah, I got to do the one for the last episode, clowns.
Ooh, I was at
Yeah.
Oh, clowns. Yeah, clowns. Oh, God. The clown thing is so popular right now with Stephen King's It.
I know.
But I was at the dentist this past... I told you. And
they
had
everyone.
A puzzle on the ceiling. I told you this.
I love that. And free headphones.
And free headphones. So you can actually tune them out.
Yeah, so I'm changing doctors. I have to.
I asked her, I said, so... I had a conversation with a friend of mine on our podcast recently, and he asked me if that would be considered rude, and she's like, absolutely not. She's like, most of the time we shouldn't be talking to you because you can't respond to us because your mouth is full of equipment.
Then why does mine fucking want a dissertation every time I'm in there?
Yeah,
she's like, where are you going on vacation? Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. You're drooling, and I hate that. But
yeah, you're picking shit out of my teeth. I don't want to know you.
It was the cleanest facility I've ever been in my entire life.
All right, well, when we get off the air, I want the name of that, and I probably need to switch to that.
You walked there, by the way. So it's that close. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Was the puzzle? Did you solve the puzzle?
No.
No?
Because I was talking to her too much.
What kind of puzzle? Was it a crossword?
No, it was like one of those you know how on the back of those beer coasters they have like an animal plus a something plus something, all those things.
Yeah, like classic concentration. That old.
Yeah. It was fun.
I still love that game, by the way.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I love old game shows.
I love Password.
The password is.
Password is. But I'm always like, remember taboo? You couldn't, the word you couldn't say.
I'm the worst at that.
Oh,
the
God.
word will be like Humpty Dumpty, and I'll be like,
Humpty.
He's an egg on a wall. I just see the words, and I have to say it because I get all ramped up.
I know, me too. I was like,
I cannot play a game and not be competitive. So that's why I don't like going to bingo, because I'm like, why aren't I winning? I have superior skill from these old ladies. And I get mad and I get anxious that someone else had won before me. And there's no skill involved in bingo, right? It's
complete
dumb luck. Yeah,
it's luck.
That I get stressed out at Keno. I have anxiety about all games because I'm super competitive.
I told you my bingo story, right? So years ago, before they had the stamp pads, they had the little chips you put on your bingo cards.
Oh yeah, the little clear chips.
So it was in a church. My friend Heather and I, we were probably like in college at that time, so we were old enough to play bingo, 18 or 19. We went there, and it was like the two of us at 19 years old and like 4,000 elderly people who've been playing bingo since like 1926.
Why do old people like bingo?
Well, something to do.
But why bingo?
I don't know.
Why don't they fucking like Monopoly?
There's no activity involved. You just stamp cards or shit, put chips on cards.
I guess.
My
It's just,
story
it seems
is-
like a lot of reading for people who don't have great eyesight.
There's no reading. They tell you exactly what to do.
No, you have to read the fucking numbers.
The cards are so big, it's like large print. How could you miss that?
Not always. I'm sorry. Go
Well,
ahead.
Well, I yelled bingo, and I heard the collective,
Please tell me you didn't not
I heard the
have
collective
bingo.
like, dismissal of all the chips, like 4,000 cards being wiped out.
Did
I
you
go,
call a false
Ooh,
bingo?
sorry, false bingo.
See, you should have had to die for that.
Oh no, they chased us out of the facility.
Slowly.
Yeah, slowly.
Yeah, you heard the
We
tennis
gotta
balls
hit
scraping against the tiles just coming after you.
People were throwing their false teeth at me. I was like, I'm sorry. Oh
I'm
my
gonna be the
God. They had to go
worst.
back and do. Oh my god, it was a nightmare. I've never been back to that bingo before. We had
you-
bingo on the cruise though. It was fun.
Can you imagine me at a nursing home? They're all gonna hate me.
Don't.
What?
Yeah, because you like knocked them over to win a game.
Yeah, I didn't say it. 100%. I wanted to start this episode. Welcome to Absolutely Oh My God with David and Kevin.
Hey.
No, the last episode, you tried to be wary of not saying "Oh my God," and I
yeah.
tried to be wary of not saying "absolutely." We said it more than ever.
We did. I
Yeah.
know.
So I'm really trying to be conscious about this. So I might
I'm-
be a little slow in talking.
I'm going to say absolutely then.
and I'm going to say, "Oh my God."
You won't do it as well as I do, though.
No, it's natural from you.
Yeah.
I need can you get me a thesaurus for Christmas?
You have a fucking smartphone.
No. Oh, I'll take one of those instead. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, $1,000 for the
iPhone X. Yep.
Oh my god, don't. I can't. I'm done with them. I'm done.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
I stole that from Ellen DeGeneres.
You did. Yeah, I saw that little clip on YouTube. All right. Well, we also have an email account.
Yes, terrifyinglybeautiful@gmail.com.
gmail.com.
And I know we've been slacking with reading people's emails. The fact is, both of our works have been busy, so
Really busy.
we've been doing our big episodes rather than the smaller little ones. But we
Yeah.
will get to more reader
Anxiety-teenies.
very, very soon, we
I
promise.
was thinking that on the way. We've done a couple of chill pills with no anxiety-teenies, but we
Yeah.
have to. We've had a lot of great input from listeners, and we probably should reflect that back to the listening community. So
Yep, and we'd also like to hear, do you like our new slogan at the end better or our old slogan at the end better?
I was listening to the last two episodes. Well, first of all, the last 10 seconds of the public speaking one was hilarious, I thought. We were laughing
If you
about
do
the
say
whole-
so yourself.
It was mostly you talking. But
Then it was
I
hilarious.
like the new slogan.
Life's crazy, not you.
Not you.
Yeah, we're keeping it, but I want to hear if you listeners
Because,
like it.
you don't have to be implies that they are,
Exactly.
right?
But it's true. Life is crazy. Not the way you react to it. It's perfectly normal. It's written in our DNA. It's a survival instinct.
Oh, by the way, just a shout out, and I forget his name now. Sorry, I think he's closer to you. But the gentleman who sent you the bee video on YouTube, the comedian, about the types of bee people, the wafters, the
Yes. Well, that was a
stand-skillers,
woman who sent that to
Oh,
me.
it was? Okay, well-
Yes, Jennifer. Thank you.
and the panickers. Oh my god, I'm definitely a panicker.
Yeah, well, I have to find a way to post that link, but it was a British comedian
so funny, I was
who
dying.
talking about the three kinds of bee people. There's the wafters who waft the bees away. and it's
Casually,
just
like, oh, get
casually.
away.
And then there's the standstillers who
like,
are just like, just don't
don't
stand,
move,
just
don't
don't
move.
move.
Oh my God,
You'll be
don't
fine.
breathe,
Don't move.
don't say
They
a word.
won't sting you
Oh
if
my
you don't
God.
move. Which I hate those people.
Yeah, me too.
And then there's the panickers.
That's me.
Yeah. Oh, you
Like
know
arms
that's
flailing like a windmill, and like, oh my god, and then you're like, ah!
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just run off a cliff.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I just said it.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna pinch myself. Ow. I really did.
I'm not gonna say it.
I just pinched myself.
You did.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right. So you said we're going to change it up,
Yes. So normally we talk about what stressed you out this week.
and I had a great topic too, but I will let it go.
Yeah. Well, we've been very negative lately. We haven't done the beautiful side of Terrifyingly Beautiful.
Oh, God, here we
So
go.
I would like you to think about something beautiful that you've experienced or seen in the world this week. Isn't that nice?
It's actually pretty easy for me.
It's
so-
like Oprah's Souls. What does she call it? The Soul series or
Oh, really?
Njala Van Zant.
Who the fuck is that?
That's the other lady that she has come on, and she says like spiritual shit.
Oh my
and
God,
Oprah just
Kevin.
sits there with like her fingertips pressed to each other and just nodding and going, yes.
Should we like candles and bird sage or something? What should we do here?
Yeah, let's do it.
No, it's too much effort. So, and sage is pretty pricey, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not cheap to relax.
I have to buy it for stuffing every year.
Sage?
It's the only thing it's good in.
No, you burn sage to get rid of evil spirits.
Well, there's no such thing as that. But are there evil spirits inside
I
a
was
turkey?
abducted by an alien.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
Okay, so what did you have something?
Well, so the last couple of weeks, and even before we came on the episode today, I was sharing with Kevin that it's been kind of a hard couple of weeks. I've had like some career stuff going on. It's causing anxiety. You know, I've had some friend drama, and it just kind of put me into a little bit of a rut. And then I was like, David, this is ridiculous. I have very little to complain about, right?
We're really blessed.
I mean, honestly, we are. Like, I have unbelievable friends, right?
You have me.
And I would include you and Jesse in that, right? And Sean and Aaron for sure. And I'm healthy. I have a great house, a great husband. I have 2 beautiful dogs. I just, a great extended family.
Perspective. Yeah.
What is there to complain about? Like, okay, great. I have some issues with friends. I have some issues with my career. Things are irritating me. The stuff in the world's irritating me. But I really, you have to really prioritize what's most important and weight those appropriately.
Stress and irritations are never going to go away.
Yeah.
That's a perfect world, and that just does not exist. So as long as you understand that that's always going to happen, and there's always going to be things that are frustrating.
Yeah. So just a quick example. So we had a friend come over who had not been to the house yet, and he travels a lot for work. He came over to the house for dinner the other night, and
let's just talk about when you have a new person come to your house. It's a totally different thing than when you have established friends come over.
Yes, it's absolutely.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
The same thing here. We had a house guest comes to stay with us, and we were like,
they see things you don't see. Like, oh my God, I love that little. Where you get that? I love
my
that desk.
fiance folded the toilet paper into a triangle up top, and he was like, "Did you notice?" I was like, "Yeah, I did," and I wanted to make fun of you hardcore.
So Pete steals all of like the little shampoos and conditioners at all the hotels we stay at. And then when guests come over, he puts a towel and he puts those little things out. Like, okay,
we have a hospitality basket.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, but this our friend said, oh my God, look at this view, because we live on the water, right?
Yeah,
and
it's gorgeous.
We take it for granted all the time. And so after he left, Pete and I were kind of like standing there going like, oh my God, we don't spend any time over the course of the day like just pausing and saying like, I just feel grateful for living here. Like, it sounds so cheesy.
Is this your beautiful thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a long way to get to it.
Oh my God, Kevin.
But no, you're totally, appreciate what you have.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. A boring way to get to it, but okay.
Well, mine was 4 words and yours was like 4 minutes.
I'm dying to hear your fucking beautiful thing.
It actually involves you, so yeah.
Oh, you did that on purpose.
Oh, and you're back. And I'm back. No, it's actually something that I think we had talked negatively about before, but it's when people have home gardens and the lengths that they go to give what they grow from their gardens to their friends and neighbors. I think that's beautiful. So, my parents have a garden. We've had neighbors who have gardens, and they just come over with it's like a used Dunkin' Donuts bag of like a couple of cucumbers and tomatoes to say, here, we grew these and we thought you might like them. I think that's such a kind human thing to take something that you grew and spent time on and share it with other people. I think that's really nice.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin your story, but it's not a necessity because you have so many fucking tomatoes. You know what to do with them.
Well, yeah, I know it's a necessity.
Oh my God, I have 40,000 tomatoes. What the hell am I going to do with all these tomatoes? But no, I'm kidding. No, Pete. So it was our garden was Pete's idea, and he gets so excited about giving the vegetables away.
They're the best tomatoes I've ever had.
Really?
The little ones,
little yellow ones.
They taste like candy.
I know,
they're like tomato
so
candy.
They're so good.
But I think that's a sweet thing that people do, and I love that. I think it's, you try to be reminded, you listen to the news and you hear how terrible humanity is, and then you see something like this and you're like, people can be good.
But even growing something from a seed is kind of like, there's something kind of cool about that, right? So
it's incredibly cool. I can't wrap my head around, like a pumpkin seed that you fucking toast on Halloween can turn into a pumpkin. I'm like, how?
I mean, every day when we were watering the garden with just little seedlings, every day we go out there, is it coming up yet? Do we see any kind of vegetation? What's going on? Every single day we're so excited about it. It was like we're, growing a child in the garden, right? And but now it's like the garden's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, see?
It's amazing.
Wasn't it nice to talk about beautiful things?
I like that.
I feel relaxed already.
You do?
Now I want you to talk about your topic for the week and fucking put me into a tailspin.
Okay, so I know that we last couple times.
Hold on, what are you drinking today?
Well, it's almost gone.
Oh.
It was vodka and lime seltzer water.
Yeah, my sober September has turned into sober weekday September, so I'm enjoying more tequila. Everyone likes when they can hear the ice.
Yeah.
There's
all ice right now.
Oh, Jesus, slow down, boy.
It was a stressful week.
Tequila and lime seltzer water, and that is a super skinny margarita.
Well, also, I'm having my blood work done tomorrow for my annual physical, and I have to fast for it, so I can't drink after like 8 p.m. tonight. So I have to get it all out of the way now.
Your blood work, all you need to do is add some horseradish, and you have a lovely cocktail.
Well, okay, so they asked me, like, how many drinks do you consume? And we had this topic about
Did you lie?
No, I said, I'm going to give you a number, and you're going to triple it anyway, so let's just get it out of the way. I go 14?
14 a day?
A week!
That's a lie.
Of course, it's a lie, but
Yeah, I know. We've talked about trying to drink less.
Yeah.
Okay, so your topic this week.
it's pretty heavy. I'm trying to
Okay.
be funny about it, but it's pretty heavy.
It's not death, right?
No, it's not death.
We have gotten a few emails.
saying, please do a death episode.
Please, well, not please do a death episode. We'd be okay
I'm dying
if you
for the
did.
death episode.
Yeah.
No, it's important because
We're gonna. Is it death?
no, it's not death.
Okay.
Okay, so my topic is, and this came about because upon your recommendation,
Okay.
I watched the docu-series on A&E about Lacey Peterson's murder.
Obsessed.
So,
Obsessed.
my topic is my anxiety, and I've had this for a long time, actually, of being accused of a crime you didn't commit.
Okay, this is one of my
It's
favorite.
right in your wheelhouse. I know it is.
I love true crime, and I love This sounds terrible. I love talking about murder. I am fascinated by it because it's so far out from my comfort zone. And honestly, a lot of anxious people are obsessed with true crime and
yes,
murder. You
they
know
are.
why?
No.
Because we are probably the most defensive groups of people, right? People with anxiety and issues with that. We are always trying to protect ourselves. And so true crime is a way to learn about another way of like, well, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, true. I did read somewhere that people who have deep anxiety are just more evolved in terms of like situational awareness, right? So
I like to think of it as like you're an old soul. So like, yeah, I don't know if I believe in past lives and reincarnation and shit, but maybe you've been through it all before and you know all the things that can kill you and harm you, and you've just collected that over your lifetimes, and now you're just afraid of everything because bees have killed you, you've fallen off of a bridge, an alien has probed you to death.
Gave a public speech.
I don't know if anyone has died from that. Maybe a heart
You
attack.
pooped in a stall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So
what's your concern?
Well, and I'm not even sure. I was thinking about this earlier. I'm not even sure how far back I recall this being an anxiety for myself, but I just get really freaked out that one day I'm going to be accused, even a petty crime, and it's just not true, and no one's going to believe me,
Yeah.
and I have no way to defend myself, and there's going to be evidence that actually supports my guilt. And it's like, oh, and so, you and I both watched the documentary on the Steven Avery thing, Making a Murderer, right? And
obsessed. And I thought he was not guilty because of the way it was presented. And then I've logically thought about it now, and I think he's super guilty.
you also read the book that came up from the prosecutor, right?
I did,
So-
yeah, and I hated him, but and the
Yeah.
book was not good, but it did. He actually changed my way of thinking, but
Interesting.
which I guess is what he did for the jury.
But also with a common theme around with the Lacey Peterson documentary, and there's others too, where you do
Things that might be not suspicious.
They do introduce
Yep.
all of the exterior factors that influence a jury or public perception. I mean, I'll just be very blunt. What scares me the most is that my life could be in the hands of uneducated jurors.
Okay, this is exactly a conversation that Jesse and I had last night while watching that.
I can't
We listened to
stand
the
it.
jurors talking about Scott Peterson and Lacey Peterson. And so you're instructed by the lawyers and the judge on how to take the evidence, and, oh, you're not supposed to listen to that. It was stricken from the record.
Yeah.
How
do you strike it
No
from your
human
mind?
has that
No.
capability.
Yeah, no.
But especially uneducated people to say, I hate this man, and I think he's a scumbag. And I'm talking about Scott Peterson here.
So he's guilty.
So he's guilty, but
Or
that doesn't.
or
you
I'm
can still
gonna
be a scumbag and not a murderer.
Or this is honestly, or I don't care if he's guilty. I'm going to punish him for being a scumbag and a bad person.
yeah, no, and that's what people do.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of dead scumbags if I.
It is ridiculous. I mean, so I know folks who listen probably haven't seen the Lacey Peterson docuseries, but you should watch it on A&E. It's actually fascinating. But there's a scene in that documentary that infuriated me. There was a woman who had trained dogs to do cadaver smelling or whatever.
Yep.
And the dog apparently got a whiff of Lacey Peterson's scent and went right to
No,
the pier.
they got the whiff of assent.
Assent.
Yes.
And went to the end of the pier where Scott Peterson apparently was fishing. So her conclusion was he has to be guilty because Lacey Peterson's body was there.
Right.
Well,
but that same dog smelled Scott Peterson.
Yeah. And also failed its certification exam because it went off in a different direction.
Yeah.
And so the defense said, this is actually not credible. And the judge said, if you are presented with evidence and you could logically conclude that it supports guilty or supports innocence, you have to choose innocence.
Yeah.
And a juror went on record and she said, the part that really clinched it for me was that dog.
But here's the thing.
I was like,
you're
going to
you're going to trust something that licks its own ass to put a man to death? I mean, seriously.
Oh my God. And
a dog's never made a mistake before.
And the intimidation that happens in a jury room where one person's like, I'm sorry, I'm doing not guilty. The evidence isn't there. They intimidate that person. And the person that is not comfortable standing for themselves, I can see how they'd fold and say, okay, fine.
Have you ever been called for jury duty?
Like minor stuff, and it was like one of those day things. I got dismissed.
Never. I've never been called. No.
Lucky.
And I want to, but I would be the worst juror because I would have.
They would dismiss you during the jury selection because you're smart. You're too smart.
Probably.
They want idiots.
I agree. No, there are definitely things like you try to think of, I don't know, let's say, gosh, this sounds terrible, but let's say right now, so my partner who's off at work right now, let's say he was murdered.
Oh,
okay.
God, this is terrible. Why using him? It's like a conceptual.
No, I'm using him because it's always the spouse, right? It's always the spouse. So the first person they're going to come to is me, and then you think like, what is there around here? Like someone, you could have gone to a house the other night and they could have been like, they were acting really strange. And normally you weren't acting strange, but everyone's suspicion puts everything in a different frame of reference.
Of course. Oh no, they'll come to me and say, you have this podcast with Kevin. What's that about? I go, and I have the worst poker face. I'm like, I didn't do it. Oh my God. And I'd be in jail.
I probably would implicate myself in any murder.
I'd be in jail. I would incriminate myself because I just can't.
Imagine being interrogated, and how is a person with anxiety supposed to pass a lie detector test?
Oh, this is a great segue to what I want to talk about. So, Huffington Post did a story last year, actually, in 2016, about data from 2015 in terms of the number of people who were exonerated because of either advancements in technology that was not available when they were convicted, or witnesses who came forward. And so 146 people were exonerated in 2015. And guess what the average time spent in jail was before they were released?
30 years?
15 years. An innocent person who was convicted by a jury of their, quote, peers.
How are you okay after that?
You can't be okay after that. How can you possibly be okay? 15 years?
You hate humanity after that, right? You have to be messed up from what you've seen in prison. And,
oh my God, it's horrible. And
just the stress of being... I hate when someone tells me that I said something that I didn't say.
Oh, yeah.
I get like crazy. Like, I didn't. Like, I can't even imagine.
Pete and I fight all the time. He's like, you told me you were going to go here. I go, no, I didn't say that. Yeah, last night we had dinner. You told me. I didn't say that.
How do you
and you
deal
can't let it go.
with someone saying you and imagine if it was a loved one, right? Like, imagine, let's just take for a second Scott Peterson, and let's say that he's not guilty. Oh, my God. I used your thing.
That's amazing.
What he has been through, that his wife and unborn child were murdered, and he's been sitting in jail for the last 20 years, convicted of it. If he's not guilty, that poor, poor man. I mean, granted, he's a scumbag, right? He cheated on his wife, but no, I don't care what you did. You don't deserve that.
I know. I mean, it's...
I told you, part of me wants to think that OJ was innocent.
Are you fucking crazy?
I know. The more I think about it logically, it makes sense that he does, but there's also been things that said maybe his son did it, and then OJ he went to the crime scene, which is why his footprints were there and his blood was there, but that he tried to make it look like it was an intruder.
There's no motive
for
the son to do that. There's no motive.
Oh no, there is, but I'm not going to get into it.
It's not as strong a motive as love.
It's such a great story. Could you imagine if OJ Simpson was actually like a hero taking the bullet for his son? David, can you smell that in the air?
No, I can't.
It's not Tootie, I promise. It's the pumpkin spice everything that's about to arrive.
Oh, it's the fall.
It is.
Yes, it's coming.
And listen, just because the leaves are dead and dry and falling off doesn't mean your skin should be.
You mean like pale and flaky is not a thing right now?
No, it's not in. It'll never be in. Dry.
Moisturizer. You need moisturizer.
Yeah, don't look like a scarecrow. Go to 1ambeauty.com for all your moisturizing needs, hair products, spa products, everything.
And great news, 25% off for listeners with the promo code BEAUTIFUL.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
It's absolutely amazing. Use my favorite word.
You know how I feel about their face masks, right?
I know. Well, they actually have a papaya and pumpkin face mask.
Really?
Yeah, and papaya is supposed to have like some enzymes and shit that makes you look, I don't know, like Justin Bieber.
Papaya-ish?
Yeah, I don't know. It makes you look young and youthful. And pumpkin's super moisturizing.
I've heard that too. I'm not sure why that is.
Just take your next piece of pumpkin pie, save yourself the calories, and smear it directly onto your face. No, don't do that. Buy the pumpkin mask from 1ambeauty.com.
Exactly. Come on.
Yeah, go there and remember the promo code is beautiful.
Oh, the pumpkin code is beautiful.
25% off and also free shipping for any orders that are over $39.99. So stock up on that.
That's reasonable.
Shit.
Yeah,
I know.
perfect.
Yeah, check them out.
I'm going right now.
All right, we love you.
Right,
well, bye.
Okay, so as an example, like Zimmerman in Florida, who shot the young kid with unarmed.
Oh,
people who are like that continue to behave in reckless ways. So O.J. Simpson actually got jail time for like the armed robbery. Zimmerman actually did other things like abuse.
But you're falling into the trap of you did something wrong once, so you're the most likely culprit of doing this wrong again.
You get that flipped. I'm saying that somebody who was deemed not guilty, which is not innocent, by the way, in our criminal justice system. It means not guilty, which means there's no evidence or not enough evidence to convict, which is great because we should have a very high test for that, right? They can't hide their DNA, their nature, and they're going to continue to behave in reckless ways. And so those two examples are true. They both behave in reckless ways, and now they're being held accountable for it.
I don't know. I do believe that Steven Avery is guilty, but I don't believe he had enough to be convicted.
Well, certainly not.
I think it was a reasonable doubt.
Certainly not his nephew, Brandon Dassey. There's no way. That kid was coerced into a confession.
There's actually conflicting things with that, too. We're not going to go into depth on that.
Well, let me get some more data. So as part of that article around the 146 people who were exonerated in 2015, 2,000 people have been exonerated in the last 23 years, many of whom were on death row.
From what? From advancements in technology like DNA?
Okay, so let's back up. What do you think the most popular reasons why someone's exonerated?
Probably. I
back up.
Okay.
A better question. What are the primary reasons why someone is falsely convicted of a crime?
Prior things that they did?
That's not in the top four.
No. Okay. Yeah. Maybe like eyewitnesses.
Yes.
Yeah, but I've read that they believe in the future that eyewitness testimony will not be allowable in court because it's so it's people get things wrong all the time.
The number one reason why people are falsely accused and convicted is unreliable first-hand witness evidence.
Yep. Yeah, so there's a great episode of Brain Games. Did you ever watch that on National Geographic? No. It's like a thing. The show fucks with my head because it makes you look like it talks about the things that our brain does that we have no control over, and you know how much I hate that.
Yeah.
But there's one where they have a guy doing a magic trick, and while the magic trick's going on, someone gets robbed in the background. It's all staged.
Yeah.
And then they ask the people doing it to give the eyewitness testimony to a cop.
It's all wrong.
They're all wrong.
Yeah.
Every one of them, they were like, he was about 6 feet tall. Meanwhile, the guy's like 5'5". Yeah. He was wearing a black hat, not wearing a black hat. Like, people are just wrong all the time.
You want to see, yeah.
You see what you want to see.
You want to be helpful, and so you feel compelled to give information that is not necessary.
But it's also when you get excited, right? And people get excited because they see a crime, and it's normally like your adrenaline starts going, and that's when it starts messing with your mind.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fight or flight.
Positive. Absolutely positive. Yep. Second reason is forensic evidence contamination.
DNA, yeah.
Or like cross-contamination, mistakes made in the laboratory, all that kind of crap. Yep. That's actually pretty popular as well.
So that's just it. Like, let's say, let's go back to the example of Jesse is murdered, and they can be like, well, we found his car, and Kevin's DNA was all over his car. Of course it will be. I've been in there.
You've been in the car a million times.
A million times, yeah.
I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So the third most common reason why somebody is wrongfully convicted is coerced confessions. So they want justice, and they will say, "You did it. Come on, you're gonna be. This is what happened with Scott Peterson. You're gonna have the death penalty."
He didn't confess.
He didn't confess, but they tried this and said, "Take a lower."
Yeah.
Take a lower plea bargain, manslaughter, about 15 years. Like, no, I didn't do it.
Well, there's tons of coerced confessions.
A lot of folks freak out and they take it because they're panicked.
I mean, there's a great documentary on that, right? So Paradise Lost, which is a 3-part documentary, that's a great one on that. And there's another one, I can't remember it. Watch any documentary about coerced confessions. It's a thing that happens, and it's really hard to wrap your head around as an innocent person to say, I would never say that I committed a crime that I didn't do.
We say that now, but when faced with the death penalty or 15 years in prison,
it's a form of torture, David. How do we get information out of...
Of course it is.
Watch James Bond. How do they get information out of spies?
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Put their life in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing to people.
Yeah, I know. The fourth most common reason is poor legal counsel. And we saw that with the podcast Serial, where the woman was she had some kind of mental, because she was sick, right? And she was like not thinking, she was not thinking properly, making poor judgments and poor decisions. And so it's a breakdown in the credibility and competency of that attorney, and that can be really detrimental to your chance of...
Do you know this? If you're convicted, if you're like accused of a crime and you have to hire a lawyer, and let's say that lawyer costs $1 million, right? Like, I don't have
How do you afford that?
I don't have $1 million to give to somebody right now.
This is why poor people are more...
But let me ask you this. If I get found not guilty, can I sue? Can you sue somebody for that $1 million? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So that sucks. They got the wrong person, and now you're poor.
I don't know about that, but you can sue. Well,
wrongful
liable maybe, or defamation of character. You can sue if you're convicted and put in jail, then released later on. You can sue for damages.
Make a murderer.
Hello, right? But my theory was, like, again, I mentioned before, dumb jurors. People who like, I don't want to be in this room anymore. Just get it over with. I mean, it's amazing how humans will actually throw somebody else under the bus because they're inconvenienced.
Well, also, don't you think there's some kind of bias in the fact that we're taught to trust police officers and Tootie choking?
Yeah.
You're taught to trust police officers and the legal
law
system, right?
Yeah.
So the person that they're sitting at the table, I think you automatically have in your brain, well, that's probably the guy. They wouldn't bring him here unless they really thought it was him.
Okay, I have a first-hand story about this.
Okay.
I never told a story before, I don't think. So when I was like maybe 16, 17...
You murdered someone?
No, I had a friend, Eddie.
You murdered that friend?
No, what's up? I had a friend, Eddie, who had a girlfriend.
You murdered the girlfriend?
Kevin, I want to tell the
Did
story.
you murder anyone?
No. Okay. I just told you the whole story about being falsely accused.
I was hoping the twist was that you actually did it.
Well, hang on tight. Okay. It's coming. So they had spent the afternoon together, and they had sex, whatever.
Gross.
And then they got a hold of some alcohol, and they got tipsy, and she got really drunk because she was like a tiny little girl. She was like 16, 17 years old. Mm-hmm. And they were in like some like park area, and she went out of his car and was walking along this sort of tree trunk that had fallen down across this path.
This sounds very Bridge to Terabithia-y.
Listen, she fell down and her legs kind of straddled the log, and so she got kind of cut up between her legs, and like, she cut her chin open. When that happened, my friends and I were arriving in a different car, and we're like, what the hell's going on? And so Eddie was freaking out, so he wasn't sure what to do because she was intoxicated, now she's injured. So he brought her to her house and like dumped her off of the house, right?
I know where this is going,
16 years old, right?
Yep.
Next day, the knock at the door. It's a detective, and they want to talk to me. And Mom's like, well, what, can I ask you why? And he's like, well, there's a woman who we think was sexually assaulted.
Yep. I knew this was
and your son may have been there and may have participated in it. And so my mom's like, well, hold on.
Just talk to my son for 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly how my mom's like, have you met David before? I was like, no. I was like, hold on a minute. David, can you come out here? Someone wants to talk to you.
And then you came out in your tutu.
I was listening to like Celine Dion. I was all pumped up. I had my workout shorts on, and I had one of those little rowing machines. I like working out. I flitted down the hallway and like pirouetted into the kitchen, and he was like, "We're good." He was like, "Okay."
David, similar story with me. Seriously.
It was hilarious. He's like, "Okay, there's no point."
So wait, give the end of that, and I'll tell you mine.
He just left.
No, but I mean, did anything happen to Eddie?
No, because she wasn't assaulted.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
But why did they think you did it?
Well, I think she panicked because she didn't want to get caught drinking and having sex with her
So
boyfriend.
she said you did it?
We all were involved in it.
Wow.
And when she went to the hospital, the swabbing thing, and realized that she had intercourse. And there was no DNA back in 1984 or whatever, right? So, and I was like, my mom's like, yeah, I think you had the wrong person. I think you need to go talk to Eddie. I think Eddie and she have some relationship issues you need to resolve, and a drinking issue you need to resolve. And it went away. I mean, there's no issue with after that.
Yeah, but what a terrible way to cover
Oh my God.
it
I mean, my mom shared with me later on what he was asking, and I was like, what? But she was like, yeah, I wasn't concerned about it.
The news came to our house once because a teacher in my high school was she had sex with a student, and there was a videotape of it.
What?
And they didn't know who it was, right? So the media got a hold of this, and my mother happened to watch her son, as it's what my mom did on the side, right? Like, she didn't work when we were in school, but she watched one of my teacher's sons. And so I'm at home, and the nightly news comes in, knocks on the door, and says, we'd like to speak with Kevin, because it made sense that it would be me, right? She's at my house all the time.
Yeah, of course.
And they were like, we'd like to talk with Kevin. And so my mom had me come down, and they talked with me for maybe about 5 minutes, and they were like, we good. We good.
That's the one benefit, right?
Yeah. Well, they had, I mean, I'm so butch.
I mean, I may have judged her shoes or her outer coat, but
she was really pretty. She was really pretty.
Oh, the teacher?
Oh my! She was smoking hot. Like, she was the hot teacher in school.
Oh my God! It's always the case, though. The smoking hot teacher.
And I think she had like an unhappy marriage and made a mistake, and I don't know.
That's kind of lame, though. Let's have sex with a student.
He was cute. I know it's not.
Sometimes you do mature. I mean, you do mature quickly in high school. You're like a man, right? So it's like,
yeah, he was on the football team.
There's still no excuse, Kevin. I mean, my God, please, it's terrible.
I was not on the football team, David.
No, you're on the.
I was in the band.
You in the band?
I played the clarinet,
the skin flute.
I played the clarinet. I was in the chorus. And my parents were still shocked when I came out.
I was not in anything in high school.
No?
I was not. I was counting.
You were in the closet?
Like prison. I was counting the days till it was over.
I feel like you'd be good in prison. Like, you'd be popular.
Very popular. I've already had this conversation. The first day I'd say, hey, you 6'2", 195 pounds, big muscles and tattoos, I'll be your bitch and for protection.
Are you trying to get like falsely convicted just so you can be the belle of the ball?
Well, okay,
San Quentin?
this is a great segue. So I'm thinking to myself, like, wait a second, how reliable is DNA evidence? I mean, you mentioned Jesse's car, right? Your DNA.
It's not.
I take Uber all the time and Lyft all the time. I stay at hotels all the time. And I chew my nails, and I'm very talkative, so there's like saliva everywhere. My DNA is in every single Uber and Lyft in the country.
And that's all it takes. All it takes is someone in that Uber to get murdered and then to swab it. And I don't know why you'd be in a database anywhere, but it just takes them to look into it more and maybe say, well, this Uber driver picked up somebody here, so maybe they intersected
Wouldn't
their
it be the
time.
best place to murder somebody? Because there's like 19,000 possible passengers who've been in that car previously.
I feel like the airport's a good way to murder somebody.
The airport?
There's a lot of cameras, but
there's a lot of DNA there for sure.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh.
Yeah,
so
let's
where my
give
DNA
people
is not going to be found?
Let's give people tips on where to
murder.
Wait,
do you know
people.
my DNA is not going to be found?
Hold on. A sorority house?
A public bathroom stall.
That's true. That's true. If that ever happens,
I'm guilty.
We could be like, it'd be like, Kevin, your DNA was all over that porta potty. I'd be like, that is a damning lie.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, it will never happen. You'll never find my DNA in the ocean. Mm-hmm. You'll never find my DNA at a Chick-fil-A.
Bullshit.
Just I use the drive-through.
Maybe
so
the drive-through.
Yeah.
Maybe the drive-through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
It is really scary.
I've had some examples. I mean, there's a million different examples, but remember the Central Park 5? The jogger was raped in 1989.
That was the other documentary.
The mob mentality, and some folks confessed to that
without
being guilty.
That's the false confession documentary I was trying to think of. Yes.
And then the 5 that were the centerpiece, they actually were convicted and set in jail and then exonerated because of other testimony that came out, witness testimony that came out, and DNA evidence.
Did they ever find the person on that one?
think so.
Yeah.
I think it actually came about because, well, I could be right. I could be
Well,
wrong,
so
but
Steven
somebody
Avery,
confessed.
he was falsely convicted the first time.
Because of a lady who said he matched a description of who attacked her.
And he did kind of.
Kinda, but
he was
hello.
a dirtbag, and so everybody thought, it's got to be him.
Well,
Being a dirtbag does not mean you committed a crime.
here's some disturbing statistics, right? This just actually makes my blood boil.
I think this is our most educational podcast episode, David.
Okay. So the Innocence Project, which started in 1993,
Which
and they have
helped Steven Avery and no longer.
and they have helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people actually get freed for wrongful convictions. They said that 70% of DNA exonerations are African American. 70% of those people who are exonerated because of DNA are African American.
What does that mean?
Well, it means a couple things. It means that it's another example of the injustice in our criminal justice system, right? It's supposed to provide equity, and people of color are more often than not
Looked at as people of interest,
held accountable,
which is
and convicted. I mean, you see what's happening now with the police, and they're killing
it's
black
so
men.
It's so upsetting to me. It's so upsetting to me. I grew up in a police household, and I will tell you, that is not the norm. It is really not the norm, or it shouldn't be the norm. My dad is you've met my dad.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
He's the kindest man.
Gentle.
That would never even cross his mind. It really wouldn't. It just, as someone who loves a police officer, it's hard for me to hear people hate police in general. Just as not all African American people are criminals, not all cops are racist.
Oh, of course. But my take on it is that we should apply the law equally.
I want to go back to that statistic. I don't understand it. So 70% of DNA things that are wrong
for those people.
Does that mean people are contaminating it?
So those people who benefited from the exoneration from the Innocence Project because of DNA evidence.
Okay, that
70% of those were African American.
So they were exonerated because of other DNA evidence, not because their DNA was there. No, that makes sense.
Because advancements in DNA technology. Or I was listening to NPR this past week, and there's a gentleman who's in jail for 30. He was convicted of arson that killed 8 people, and he was spent 34 or 32 years in jail. And then there were advancements in arson research, and there was a flaw in the prosecution's expert witness around how fires start and spread, and the new technology and new research actually exonerated him, and he was released.
Wow.
It didn't say he was innocent, but it said the evidence that was presented back in the day, given this new research,
was fake science,
it's not enough to convict you, so they decided not to.
Imagine having just to sit back in a
34 years
in a fucking prison and wait for science to get better.
And do you know what he said? So the interviewer on NPR said, "Well, you have your freedom now, and so what's next for you?" And he was like, "I would love to find a way to get a position funded where I can go back into the prison system and support the guys that are there who have no hope."
I want to hug him.
Right?
That's amazing to be able to have that positive.
I was like,
I would be like, I want to fucking punch the guy who said I did it.
Yeah, 34 years, his entire life, adult life in prison.
I cannot wrap my head around it, and I have worried about this.
I worry about it all the time.
It's because I've watched all these documentaries about wrongful convictions, right? And it does cause me anxiety of that. Something I could do could be taken out of reference and looked at in a maleficent. That's the Disney villain. Malevolent.
Yeah,
malevolent way that I did not mean it.
Yeah, of course. I always relate back to my sexuality, but it was really painful for me when I was younger. When this is before people started to become more aware and accepting of us, right? And it was when they really were equating gay people with pedophiles. I was afraid to be around my nieces and nephews. I was afraid that somebody who didn't really understand me would accuse me of something that horrible. I mean, think about, how do you ever recover from that? You don't, right?
That's disgusting that you ever had to think that, but I understand.
Isn't that crazy?
It's disgusting that you ever had to think that, but I totally get it. Oh my gosh! I
mean, I was like, I can't. It's hard for me to really engage in when they were younger, nieces and nephews. My sisters would never, ever. But there were other kids involved in that circle, and I just didn't know who their parents were, and I was like, I just would never want to be in this, because there's a lot of stories about parents who get accused of that crime when it's completely false, and it's the children's testimony that convicts them, which is even more ridiculous.
Imagine, God, this sounds terrible. Imagine you were in Target fucking yelling at your kids because they're acting like little bastards, right? And you're like, maybe you grab them the wrong way and you like get them out of the store. And then, God forbid, oh my God, God forbid, that something happens to that child, right? Where it falls down the stairs and dies, or it dies from sudden infant death syndrome. And someone in that store gives the testimony of, I saw Carol acting like a monster to her kid, even though you were parenting them, right? Like, you will not act like this, let's get out of here. And you just maybe like a little forcefully drag them out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Carol loves her kids and makes sure they're doing the right thing. And she's actually taken the kid out of the store because she doesn't want everybody else to have to deal with her shitty little brat. And now all of a sudden that little interaction is that person's on the stand saying that, yes, I saw her being abusive to her child. Imagine what that does to that woman's head. She lost her child for something that was out of her control. An accident or a medical issue. And now strangers are saying, I think that woman was capable of killing that kid. How do you recover from that?
Well, I have a personal example of this. So, and I won't give too much information for her own privacy, but somebody who's very close to me who has a son, at the time was probably 4 or 5 years old, and he was extremely rambunctious and daring. So he'd jump off furniture and run downstairs.
Sure.
And you can't, I mean, she had 3 kids. You can't keep an eye on the kid all the time, right? So, and so, one time he may have broken like a toe one time, he broke a finger. And so one day he jumped off. He jumped off the couch to do something, and he broke. I think he broke his arm. And so
Child Protective Services,
her pediatrician was closed, and so she went to a different doctor, like an urgent care pediatrician office, who she did not know, and she presented the injury, and he reported her to Child Protection Services because the way in which the injury occurred, it looked like she may have jerked his arm, and all of a sudden now the state's now at her doorstep, and they're separating her from the kids. My
stomach is so sick.
Separating her from the kids, having a conversation. He's 4 effing years old. And when she called me to tell me, I was like, I wanted to cry.
They're questioning those
kids. This is also a woman who has dedicated she left her job to stay at home to make sure her kids had every possible opportunity available to them, and she gave up her career for these kids.
And now they're questioning the kids, saying, does mommy ever do this to you? Does mommy ever do that? And putting that shit in their head.
Yeah, and they're crying, and now I totally get it that a pediatrician is required to report, but he could have actually paused and called the other pediatrician and said, hey, I have this patient here. Can you tell me more about the history here? Because the pediatrician said, oh my gosh, like this kid is like
making me sick. It's making me physically sick to think about this.
Months of not knowing what's going to happen with her kid, right? So months.
Poor thing. That just made me physically sick to think about that.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, so just don't do anything. Lock yourself in your house.
Exactly. Just live in a bubble. It's so much safer.
No, so what's beautiful about this, David?
I'm not in jail.
Yeah.
I'm not in jail. Well, we also...
I would love to say our justice system is beautiful, and I don't think I can say that and mean it. This is a long episode, isn't it? Are we running long?
Yeah, it's like 47 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. I would love to say that it's beautiful, but I've watched too many fucking documentaries to think that's true.
We gotta stop watching the documentaries. That's what we gotta do.
No, I feel like I've learned a lot from them.
Well, I guess I have to have comfort that justice will eventually be served. It may not be in the time frame that we want, but that you have a trust in the system.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean,
plus, I feel like I'd get super jacked in prison. Right? What else are you gonna do?
Well, define jacked.
Oh. I just mean like muscly.
Muscly.
I'd probably get a couple tattoos, like prison tattoos.
You can't somebody like burning you?
No, like they think they have ways.
They don't have tattoo artists there.
They can do that. You can do it with like a ballpoint pen and like a real...
Oh, that's real hot.
A real sharp skill set.
Oh my God, no.
Would you drink toilet wine?
What's toilet wine?
They make like hooch. They like take fruit from the not the buffet. They don't have a buffet. The cafeteria. Jeez.
Yeah, okay. The mess hall.
The buffet. They take fruit. They take fruit cocktail, and then they like ferment it in either the tank of the toilet, which I don't think there's tanks, or in the bowl of the toilet, and then it turns into wine.
Well, I probably woun't do it in the toilet, but if they had some other container, I would do that.
What do you think they give you? Like a clean bucket?
I would ask for one.
Could I have a clean bucket, please? Maybe one of those Home Depot ones?
You don't think someone who works in the cafeteria can like put that aside?
Well, I mean, you'd have to do something.
Well, I will say I drank homemade wine in Saudi Arabia because you couldn't buy it, right? And so people who live there would buy they'd buy.
How do they make it out of sand?
No, yeast, sugar, and grape juice.
Oh, that's how you make wine.
And it was horrible, but it did the trick.
Yeah, I've had other people offer me homemade wine, and it's never good.
Somebody offered me like homemade like moonshine, and my throat's still burning from it.
Oh, you're lucky you didn't go blind.
It's possible.
There was always like a rumor that if you drank Everclear, you'd go blind.
Well, not true because for a couple years,
it'd be a great name for a contact lens solution, right? Everclear.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, we did a limoncello making contest and tested out, and you had to use Everclear because it's the best one to use for limoncello. Because you want that bite at the end of the sip,
right.
You know,
the alcohol bite.
It also was really effective at sucking the lemon juice out of the lemons.
Now imagine if someone got poisoned from that.
I'd be sued.
No, you'd be falsely convicted of murder.
Well, it wouldn't be falsely. I made the limoncello.
It wasn't on purpose.
Oh, that's true.
But I would say, well, I don't know. David really didn't like
you should see
Barbara.
You should see the disapproving eyes when you buy Everclear at the store. They're like, okay.
Oh, please.
It's like, you drunk. It's like, it's for limoncello. Yeah, sure it is.
We used to drink like Mad Dog and Boone's Farm wine and
like, was it Turkey something? Like
Turkey Hill?
Oh, God.
Wait, is that ice cream?
No, Turkey's ice cream. What's that thing called? Something turkey. It's like so awful at whiskey.
Oh,
like
Wild Turkey.
Wild Turkey.
Yeah, Wild Turkey.
Oh, God. All right. Well, I know it's probably it's kind of a deep, I think you're right, educational topic, but it was important to mention
there's
because
a lot of statistics.
we can't be alone. Others have to have the same fear.
Yeah, and when I do get falsely convicted, I would really like a good, like a nice cinematographer to like catch a good angle of me, like really being like thoughtful in my prison cell, like just being frustrated.
No, I want a jury full of drag queens.
No, are you kidding? They would convict you in a second.
Me? Why?
Drag queens are like some pretty brutal people.
No, they're more logical.
Like, what would be like a good... Like, what would be the most logical group of people? It would not be drag queens.
Drunks.
I would like magicians.
Magicians?
Yeah, magicians.
No, I want
because they would think about what?
Reporters.
I think you said hoarders.
Reporters.
They'd just be like, can we just wrap this up? I really need to get back to my pile of dead cats.
Engineers.
No, reporters would just do whatever would give them the best story.
Ugh, they can't have a story.
Engineers would overthink it, but magicians would think about the other ways, right? Because they're all about illusions and Oh my God, I want a jury of magicians.
Well, good luck with that.
No, why? That's such...
Where are you going to source from? Las Vegas Strip?
Well, Penn and Teller, there's two.
You can't handpick your jury.
David Copperfield.
Oh, the guy from
America's Got Talent.
Nick Franco or...
You're making people... Dave Franco?
No.
James Franco. I want James Franco
No,
I want James Franco on the jury, too, because even if I get off, he'll make a movie about it.
Stop.
I would like Neil Patrick Harris on my jury.
He's not a magician.
Yes, he is.
He's not a magician.
He is an alumni of the Magic Castle, bitch.
Oh, my God. You want Harry Potter on there, too?
Yes.
Hermione
Granger would be the best juror. I would say villain. The best juror.
She would just do that
she'd Wingardium Leviosa.
Your memory's erased, so nobody knew what the hell was going on.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Who would you want for a judge? Judge Judy?
Oh, I love her.
No, she's too mean.
She's fair.
I don't agree.
She's fair.
I don't agree. She prejudges people. I don't like her.
She admits when she's like, I read you wrong when I first came in here, and I think
she never thinks she's wrong, and I don't like that about her.
She does too. You don't watch it enough.
I do too.
You don't.
No, you're right. I've never watched it. A Judge Ito?
Oh, no, God.
I mean, OJ got off. I would want him as a judge.
Please.
Who else? Judge Dredd? No?
No.
That's Sylvester Stallone in a shitty movie. Oh,
or
I
Ellen.
would love Oprah.
Or Ellen.
I feel like Ellen would be a good judge, too.
All right. We have to wrap this up.
Okay. You just shut me right down.
Because I'm like, sorry, I'm like getting all amped up about being falsely convicted. It's
Who'd
like,
you want for a lawyer?
Don't. No. I'd probably do it myself.
Zombie Johnny Cochran.
Myself.
Yourself? You'd represent yourself?
Why not?
I was at a trial once where someone represented themselves.
I would.
I was on witness. It's a whole other story.
Really?
Yeah, it's real
Ooh.
good. Not for today, though.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, what's our new tagline?
Don't murder anyone.
This is not my favorite murder podcast, by the way.
This should be. They have way more listeners than we do. Life's crazy.
You're not.
Not you.
Oh.
God damn it, David. Let's try that again.
I've never had that. I've never been.
No, edit that out. Edit that out. Ready? Okay. So what's our saying again? Life's crazy.
Not you.
There you go. So much better.
Well, now you said that. Now I can't edit it out.
You have to edit it out.
Oh, my God.
Don't leave it in there.
It's too much work.
You absolutely have to.
I'm going to murder you.
Someone else will probably be falsely convicted.
There's so much DNA in this house.
I'm not going to even go there.